Today we're talking about, is your brand boring? And if you're missing these three things that I'm going to be sharing with you today, it's very possible. So if I get anybody watching this, of course I know, if you are watching this on the replay, I am also glad that you are here. You are as equally awesome as the people that are here live. I mean, I don't know, maybe not as awesome, but you're sure close, man. I would love for you to be here live though, because I just really like talking to you. And it's like so much better for me to be like, hey, you know, what's up, Tracy? It's nice to see you, man. Alexis, nice to see you. Renee, what's up, girl? I can like we can be here together. So if you are in the replay though, I do appreciate you. I know your time is valuable. I'm glad you're here. Drop me a hashtag replay so I can say hi to you anyway, because you guys are amazing. All right. Cheers and good morning. Happy Friday. I hope your Friday is amazing. I hope whatever is in your cup is delicious. I hope your day is short, your weekend is long, and you get to enjoy the fallness that is happening. Y'all live in an area of the country that you get to experience the fallness. I do. I'm in Michigan. Like, we're in the chat. Where are you in the world? And I know where most of you are, but put it in the chat stream so everybody knows. I would love to know. I'm in Michigan. I do believe that Michigan has the best fall colors on the planet, primarily because we are surrounded by water and it just amplifies the things. But I would love to know where you are. Do you get to experience the falliness? It's very fall-ish here. Sherry's in Ohio. Very fall-y, very cool. Windows are open. I think my house is like 62 degrees this morning, which is delightful. Like, I like to see frost in the morning. Like, I like to wake up and be able to see my breath in my bedroom. Like, anybody got like a frosty? I really like the frosty. Oh, Tennessee's got amazing fall colors. Like, when it happens, like going through the mountains and stuff, it's amazing. I love it. All right. I just love hanging out with you. I am going to talk about, is your brand boring, but I just love hanging out with you. So let's get to it, shall we? We are going to talk about, is your brand boring? I'm going to give you three things. AC is on, Sherry? No, it is? Your AC is on. You must like it cold too. I don't blame you. I mean, I'm all about that AC. So, all right, let's get to work. We got to get to work. We got stuff to accomplish today. All right, so we're going to talk about, is your brand boring today, y'all. I'm going to set this up for you this way. I was having a conversation with a new client recently about a freemium that they are creating, because I've been talking about freemiums a lot lately. Renee, nice to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming in, girl. All right, so I was talking about freemiums a lot lately, and you know, I've been challenging her to create a new freemium, and she had followed all the advice and all the instruction that I had given her. So the content and the flow and the value and everything was on point. But she sent this to me, and I was reviewing it, and the problem that I had was that it just didn't have that ignition factor that I was looking for. You know what I'm talking about? Like, when you get your hands on something, you're like, dang, this is good, like really good. You know, so she sent the thing to me for feedback, and the value and the content and the flow and what she was teaching was great. But it's just the freemium itself just did not have that, you know, that factor. So I told her, your work is awesome. I love how much instruction and value you've packed into this thing, but you have a problem. And she said, what's my problem? I said, I don't think the prospect that goes through this freemium is going to get to the end and be like, this is the coach that I have been looking for. And of course she was a little bit surprised, and because she followed the instructions of the value and the content and everything that I asked her to put into it. And so she's like, why not? And so I shared with her three things that I think are essential to really creating a brand that's magnetic and really give something that people can connect to. I share with her these three things that I'm going to share with you today to help you make sure that what you are creating and what you're putting out in the world is not boring. All right? And if these things are missing, your core messaging will be bland and unappealing, even if it's targeted at the right audience. That's the thing. I mean, you can get your target audience right, but if your brand is boring, it doesn't matter. It's kind of like, it's like cold oatmeal, right? With no brown sugar, no raisins, or, you know, pancakes with no syrup, or, you know, nachos with no cheese, tacos with no guac. I mean, who does that? Nobody does that. You know, a morning with Justin with no coffee or tea. You know, he's just, who does that? You don't want that. Nobody wants to be cold oatmeal, just plain cold oatmeal. So we're going to talk about that. All right. Let's make sure you're not building a cold oatmeal brand. All right. I mean, I actually do kind of like cold oatmeal, but it's got to have something in it, like some fresh fruit or something, you know? Nobody wants bland, cold, plain old oatmeal. All right. Number one, Y'all can tell me I'm in a mood today. I'm just wait. I mean, right now I'm being nice and funny, and then I'm gonna start punching you in just a minute. So just hold on. All right. Cheers as we get into this. Number one. Do I only have 3 things? Yeah, I only have 3 things. Okay. Just making sure. Element number 1. Good morning, Francine. Thanks for coming in, girl. Number 1 is dimension. Everybody put dimension in the chat stream. Dimension. Dimension means adding different characteristics or accents to the voice of your brand. One analogy for this is to think of your voice like the flavor of your brand. Nobody wants one flavor, right? We like multiple flavors. So what are your flavors? Are you funny? Are you passionate? Are you down to earth? Are you practical? Are you a little bit sassy? Are you foul-mouthed? And I didn't just throw that last one in there just to see if you're paying attention, because to be honest with you, some people actually have profanity as a part of their brand dimension. And while you don't have to do that, I'm not personally a fan of it. It is one possible brand flavor. You think about Gary Vee. How many of y'all know who Gary Vee is? Gary Vee is brilliant. Amazingly talented, brilliant person, serial entrepreneur, multi-bazillionaire, has built a bazillion successful businesses, and he's one of the most well-known coaches and teachers for entrepreneurs and self-employed business owners out there. But that man cusses like a sailor. And so, you can, for me, I can only take him in small quantities. You know what I'm saying? But I can dig his information, man. He's got such good information. But would I hire him as a coach for one-on-one coaching? Heck no, man. Not a chance. Because I don't know if I would want to go through the experience of just being degraded with every cuss word that you could possibly come out of his mouth, right? But that is his brand dimension. And I tell you what, there are millions of people on this planet that love Gary Vee. And a lot of people love the fact that he is as raw and real as he is, and he'll get up on stage and he will cuss like a sailor, and people love it. Not for me, but that's an example of a brand dimension, right? So what I'm telling you is that what's important is for you to be unapologetically you. Often when we're going through the process of working with our clients, we're focused on the process and what they need to know in order to move forward. And while that's important, how we deliver our message and how we deliver our services is also equally important. You need to be very aware of how you carry and how you present yourself in the various settings of your business. In person versus live online like this versus one-on-one on Zoom. What's the experience that you're giving to people as you interact with them? Good morning, Daniel. Thanks for coming in, bro. All right, so what's the experience? It's, so boring brand alert. If all of your brand content and all of your messaging is so, I'm going to say vanilla, so that you don't offend people, you will never attract your true people. All right? One of my brand flavors, for example, is direct honesty. I've committed for years, as I've shared on live stream, that I will always tell you what you need to hear, which is not always necessarily what you want to hear. I have no problem offending people in my live stream. I have no problem calling out laziness and procrastination and limiting beliefs and poverty mentality. I have no problem giving it to you square, because I believe that is what is necessary. I will not make you feel comfortable with mediocrity. I will not make you feel comfortable sitting in your stagnant place when you are fully capable of moving forward. So one of my brand flavors is direct honesty. Now, I do speak truth and love. I do love y'all. And I don't do it in a condescending or degrading fashion, but I will call you out, right? I always commit to telling you what you need to hear, which is not always what you necessarily may want to hear. It's necessary. You don't pay me to be your best buddy and make you feel comfortable with your excuses. You pay me to help you get results. So honesty with my clients is one of my core business values, and it's one of my brand dimensions. And it's attractive. Right? Because I got, and it's not attractive to everybody. Because I'll tell you this, there's people that can't handle me. I've had people that have got one-on-ones, and they've, I've got on like a discovery call type of thing with someone, and I go, part way through the conversation, and I start reading their mail, and I start telling them, this is what you got going on. And I start telling them exactly what's going on in their world, and some people just can't handle that. Like, I don't need to hear this. This isn't what I need today, and they'll hang up on me. I'm like, okay, you are definitely not ready to work with me. So that's just a part of who I am. Now, I also, I'm a man of faith. I love the Lord. Part of my brand dimension is that I interject my faith and my love for the Lord and my passion for the Lord's work into everything that I do. So a part of my brand dimension is just my willingness to declare and proclaim the name of the Lord Jesus Christ in everything that I do. That's a part of my brand dimension. I also like to have a good time. Let me just say this. I love to have a good time. And let me just point this out to some of y'all that are funny. Like Sherry Capel, you are funny. You know what's funny too is I never really fully realized how funny Sherry Capel is. Sherry and I have worked together for a long time. But I had the pleasure of having Sherry at one of my retreats this year. And you were my delight of the week, Sherry Capel. I think I actually already told you this. You were my surprise of the week. You were my delight of the week because I love working with Sherry. I love how she's wired. I love how she works. I love her focus. I love that I can tell her what to do and she'll do it. But the time spent with Sherry outside of work mode, the woman is hilarious. She's stinking funny. And she was just a treat. Just to be around, just hilarious. But I was surprised. And so, you know what, Sherry? You're funny. Girl, let that funny shine because you're stinking funny. And it's natural. And it's a natural kind of funny. You got people that try too hard to be funny. Sherry doesn't try hard. She just does it and it just happens and she's stinking funny. That's a brand dimension. Like if you are humorous, listen, I'll tell you this. You're so welcome, Sherry. But listen, I'll tell you this, y'all. When I think of a platform like YouTube, good morning, Paul. Thanks for coming in, buddy. When you think of a platform like YouTube, king of video, honestly, king of the socials, in my opinion. YouTube's bomb. But YouTube rose to fame and glory in this huge video network for two primary reasons. People go to video for two primary reasons: education or entertainment. That's it. Education or entertainment. You go to YouTube to either learn something or to watch something that entertains you. That's the primary reason why YouTube took off and why video is so powerful. Education or entertainment. If you want to learn anything, you can go to YouTube and find it. If you want to find a funny cat video, you go to YouTube and find it. It's either funny or it's educational. What I believe is the secret sauce is when you can combine those two, when you can educate people in an entertaining fashion. I call it edutaining, and I think it's a spectacular way to develop a content strategy. So yeah, when I do live videos every single day, I am unpacking for you legitimate business principles that are going to help you grow a business and grow a brand, right? But I also want you to have a good time with me because I think there's an element of fun that can be interjected in anything if you are naturally fun and funny. So anyway, those are all just some elements of my brand. But what I want to challenge you with is this, all right? Let me challenge you with this. I want to challenge you to evaluate your content. Good morning, Keith. Thanks for coming in, buddy. Evaluate your content. Evaluate your freemiums, your emails, your social posts, based on those three words. All right, I want you to think about all the things that you do and all the things that you want to do, and I want you to identify three words that you want your content and your brand to define you as. What are your flavors? Try to just pick three. So for me, it might be, if I was going to pick three, I might say strategic, because I want to give you strategy. The second thing would be strategic, practical. I do want to give you practical guidance. I want to break down tough subjects and give you practicable steps that you can actually take. Strategic, practical, and engaging. Engaging is a better way for me to say fun, because engaging is not always fun, but it could be inspiring, could be motivating, it could be clarifying. Strategic, practical, and engaging. Those would be my three words. I like that. Sherry, relatable, encouraging, and knowledgeable. That's nice. So think of your three flavors, your dimensions, and then look at all the things that you do all the stuff that you put out there, and then ask yourself, based upon those 3 words, are you living up to who you want to be? Are you going for safe? Are you going for connection, or are you just kind of bland? Are you a one-trick pony with one flavor? That's number 1. Dimension. I think I unpacked that one well. That's important. Dimension is important. All right, let's keep going. Cheers, y'all. Cheers and good morning to you. I hope your morning beverage is delicious. Number 2 is vulnerability. Vulnerability. We're talking about, do you have a boring brand? If your brand is missing these 3 things, it's very likely your brand is boring. Number 2 is vulnerability. No one wants to see perfection, especially from someone who's trying to help them transform. It's annoying, right? It makes you feel unrelatable. Show us your vulnerable side. Show what mistakes you have made. What's personal for you? I'm serious. Like, have a good cry on camera and just watch how much your audience floods to you in response. I'm telling y'all, listen, I remember the first time I cried on camera, and it was definitely not on purpose. I'm not much of a crier, but I am I have learned, I guess I've learned to not. I've learned over the years not to stuff my emotions when they rise up. I used to, but I'll tell you this. When I first started live streaming, I was so unsure of what the heck I was doing. I didn't know what a content creator was. I didn't know how to be a good live streamer. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. What I felt like I needed to be was I felt like I needed to be a poised presenter. And I took that from kind of my corporate background. I feel like I was presenting, and I needed to be a poised speaker and presenter. And so that's how I presented myself early on in my live stream journey. I was very poised. I was very professional. I was very direct. I was also very cold. Very cold. I interjected humor into a lot of what I did because that just comes natural. But I tried to keep the cold out of it. And I'm sorry, I kept the cold kind of as like the professionalism, and it wasn't warm. And I remember, I don't know, I had been streaming for maybe 3-4 months, something like that, and I felt the Lord was leading me to share my testimony, and just share my background of who I am and how I've come to be and how I started my business and everything that happened leading up to that and everything. So I decided to share my testimony, and so I scheduled my testimony for a Saturday morning. And I said, I'd love for you guys to join me in. I'm going to share my testimony. Anybody who wants to know who I am, I'm going to share that. And I had planned to talk for an hour. And I went online and I started sharing. And an hour went by in a blink. And I kept going. I ended up talking for almost 4 hours on a live video. 4 hours. Telling my story. And there was one point in time one point in my story where I talk about how I had allowed my career aspirations and my corporate life to completely destroy my family. And I talk about the breakdown that happened in my family, and man, I lost it. Susan, what's up, girl? Thanks for coming in, girl. It's nice to see you. And I lost it on camera. And some of you guys I don't know how many of y'all were there for that. Some of you guys have followed me long enough to actually see that video. But I mean, I like the mask came off, and it cracked me open, and it allowed people to see me for exactly who I am. I tell you what, man, the response that I got from that video and the following and the connections and the friendships that I made from that video, because I had a whole bunch of people saw me for who I actually was. It wasn't just, we didn't just see Justin Capin Pro anymore. It was Justin Capin. This is who Justin is. Not just who the business guy is, but who Justin actually is, and what he's been through, and how he got to where he is now, and what means the most in his world. I mean, it was incredible. I tell you what, y'all, those guys that are content creators, streamers, business owners, if you've never done a testimony video before, I challenge you to do that. It's certainly not easy. It's not easy, but it'll not only do something for your audience, it'll work in you in amazing ways. Tell your story, man. Tell a story. to tell your story of what you've been through and who you are and how you're wired and how God got you to where you are today, the mistakes that you've made. I talked about my failures. I talk about, my journey. I talked about the things that, the ways the Lord used circumstances in my life to refine me and to teach me and to show me, where I needed to go and how I needed to get there. It's crazy. I tell you what, vulnerability is a powerful element of your brand. So, boring brand alert. If you're always sharing what your ideal client should do without telling stories about the mistakes that you've made and the challenges you faced, your brand is boring. Nobody wants to see perfection. People want to listen to you because you've been there. You've lived it with them. And this was a challenge for me when I first started my business. I thought that for people to trust me and want to hire me, that I would have to appear as if I had it all together and that I had all the answers. I love that, Sherry. Sherry said on Facebook, she just wrote her testimony to share and thank me for the encouragement to share it. Girl, listen, and it's not easy. It won't be easy. Going out and actually sharing your testimony is a little scary, and hitting on especially some of the tough stuff is hard to do, but I think it's so necessary. It's so worth it. So this is what I would challenge you to do for all of us. All right, your first challenge on this piece is, if you are a content creator that you're building an audience, you got people that follow you and love you and pay attention to you, you got clients, I challenge you, if you've never done it, to pick a day and time to share your testimony. And don't put a time frame on the testimony. Just share your story. Again, I was planning on speaking for an hour, and I talked for almost 4 hours. And I had a huge audience. I had I don't even know, hundreds of people watching me live when I shared that on Periscope. Hundreds, 300, 400 people that were watching me live when I shared that. It was crazy. So sharing your testimony is powerful. The second challenge I want to give you on this one in regards to vulnerability is, think about, I challenge you to pick 3 stories. Three unique stories from your life or your experience that you can share that highlight a transformational lesson or an experience that you've gone through that could be used as a learning experience in your journey for your audience. I've got a list of stories that I use all the time where I give examples. Honestly, just telling you the example of the client that I had recently acquired, that I was helping her work through a freemium, and she did all the work and did all the necessary steps, but then gave me this freemium, and it was boring. Sharing that example is allows you to relate. You can be like, I relate to that. How do I make my stuff not boring? So when you share stories, it adds a level of connection to the message. Les Brown says, never make a point without telling a story, never tell a story without making a point. I think stories are powerful. I think we all know that. So one of the challenges I could give you, a practical step I can give you for this morning, is to write out 3 stories that you could use as examples or lessons to share with your audience. Write out how you would tell the stories and in what settings you could use those stories, and then practice them. And then be ready for the opportunity to share, because you never know when that opportunity may pop up. I don't usually ever plan to share certain stories when I'm going to get out to training or content or speaking on stage or whatever. It's usually those stories just come up and I'm like, let me just tell you a quick story real quick. And I use it to relate. So stories are powerful, and that will help with the element of vulnerability. All right. The third one I'm going to give you, number 3, then we're going to get you out of here. Right. The third element of your brand that will help your brand not be boring is action. We've talked about dimension, we talked about vulnerability, we talked about action. All right, so action is, listen, your brand will not have staying power unless you challenge people to take action on the information you're giving them. They need to see you as the person who can get them to move their feet, who can get them to push past procrastination, who can get them to push past limiting beliefs and doubts, to get them to push past the behaviors that have kept them stuck for so long. They need to see you as the person who can get them to step out of their uncomfortable. And one of the biggest challenges with transformation is that it takes time and it takes effort to get them results. Whether you're talking about building a business or creating a new relationship or improving your health, it's a process, right? It's a process no matter what it is you're trying to transform. So don't make the mistake of just trying to provide information and value, but not giving people actionable steps. I think there's some crucial elements, 3 crucial elements to what makes for great content. Free, valuable, obviously, and actionable. Free, valuable, and actionable. Write those down if you're taking notes. If you are a content creator, every bit of content that you need to create to get out there to generate leads and build a network online is free, actionable, and valuable. Free is a given, right? We all know that you got to get out there and share some free content. Valuable would seem like it would be a given, but some people just put content out there just to put content out there. So make sure that your content is actually valuable. But actionable is the key piece. Actionable, meaning when people listen to you speak and they spend time with you on a video, or they read your blog, or they listen to your podcast, when they're done listening, do they know what to do? Do they know what to do? I mean, just think about what I'm teaching today. I'm talking about these three key things. I'm talking about dimension, vulnerability, and action. I could just share with you these 3 things are essentials for brands, but each one of these points, I'm also giving you an action step to take, right? So with this piece, do this, and this is going to help you be more dimensional. Do this, and this is going to help you be more vulnerable. Do this, and this is going to help you be more actionable, right? What I'm telling you to do right now by telling you to consider your brand and consider your content and figure out how you actually instill action into your content will make your content better. It will make your process better. It will make your brand better, right? So actionable is important. So boring brand alert. Don't make your actions and your instructions and your processes or your freemiums or your content too dramatic or too hard to follow. You know, so for example, you don't want to say, you know, for the next 6 months, you're gonna do this, this, and this, and this, and you give them some huge instruction. Give your audience bite-sized pieces to take. Don't give them huge things to tackle that are just they're just overwhelming and not practical, because that's a surefire way to land in Boringville. All right. Instead, break down your steps. Think of you know, what I try to look at with my content that I'm sharing is every single thing that I teach, every point that I make, every single point that I make in my content, I try to give you one very small step that you can take that would create a win for you. If you take nothing else away from this content today, one thing that you might take away is that, you know, from Dimension, you need to analyze 3 words that you want to define your brand, and then start living those 3 words in everything that you do. Allow that to become the dimension. In regards to being vulnerable, share your testimony live on video and let people experience who you are. In regards to action, start looking at the things that you're sharing and start giving people one key action step every single time you share something live. Those are simple steps. I'm not telling you what you need to do for the next 6 months. I'm not telling you what you need to do for the next 90 days. I'm just telling you to add these simple components to your brand, and it will completely transform what you do. Make sure that your blogs and your videos and your other content have action steps associated with them, so that they can see that you are someone that can get them to move. Because this is the thing. What really will draw paying clients to you, one huge draw to attracting paying clients, is when people can take your free information and get results from it. Huge. That's huge. If people can sit and watch your videos and apply the steps that you give them to take, and then they see results from those videos, then it stirs up the question, man, I listened to this video and Justin told me to do this, and I was immediately able to see this result. Man, I'm gonna come back and watch another one. Then you watch another one. Man, he told me to do this, and man, I did that. And look at what it did. Man, I've been getting all this free stuff from him, all these steps from him. I've been applying all these things. Imagine what it would be like if I actually worked with Justin and he could actually look at my business and give me specific steps and guidance directly related to my actual business. Imagine what that would look like. Because when people start getting results from your free, they start imagining what they would get from your fee. All right? Dimension, vulnerability, and action. Those are your 3 components to an exciting, engaging brand. If you're missing those, you're boring. Don't be boring. All right? Dimension, vulnerability, and action. 3 things that'll completely transform how your audience engages with you. All right? That's what I got for you today, y'all. Y'all amazing. I love you. I appreciate you. I have a great time with you. I want you to be amazing. I want you to go out there and be impactful. I want people that need you to find you and to experience you. The best of what you have to offer without a filter. Take the filter off. and just let people see who you are and what you do. Guys, have an amazing Friday. I appreciate your time and attention. I appreciate 33 minutes of your time is so valuable. So I appreciate you spending your time with me this morning. Have a great Friday. Have an amazing weekend. Get about your goals. Get about your day. Get about the things that you got on your plate today. Be intentional with that time that you have today. And I will see you guys all around the web, right? Cheers. God bless. And I will see you guys later.